Today's lesson we are talking about median, mode, and range. So let's get ready. Fill in your learning targets and your I can statement. One thing to point out, many of the directions on assessments or worksheets will describe the measures of the center, the median, and the mode as measures of central tendencies, talking about where is the center of the data. So another label for that is measures of central tendencies, just so that you're aware of that for your directions.
Sorry, I'm a little slow writing today.
All right, here we go. If you can do me a favor and put above your box what's written in red letters. You have to put the data in order first. I don't know how you want to write that as a note to yourself, but that is the first thing that's going to happen when we're calculating the median, the mode, and the range. Some of these vocabulary words you have heard before in elementary school. The median we think of as the middle data value, or the mean of the two middle values in case you were left with an even number in the middle of your data. Your mode is the data value or values that occur the most. So you remember that as the MO for mode is most similar to the MO in most. And then your elementary school teachers have taught you that the range is usually the high minus the low. That also could be the maximum minus the minimum, or the greatest value minus the least data value.
All right, so we're going to do an example here together. Remember the note that Mrs. King said the first thing you do before you do anything else in these problems, put the numbers in order. So it's really just sorting through your data and writing them in order. So first I have 11, then 13, then another 13. You can kind of check them off as you go. Then we have 14, 16, 16, and a 22. A good thing to check, especially when you get to longer lists. There was 7 data values in my table. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 data values in my list. It's a good way of checking, did I catch all of them? So first we're going to find the mean. So remember, for the mean, you're just going to add up all your values and then divide by the number of pieces you had. So in this case, we add them all up. Mrs. King and I did this early, and we get 105. Just type it into your calculator. There were 7 pieces total, so we divide by 7. 105 divided by 7 is 15. We're talking about the cost of books, so we'd say $15.
Again, we do need whatever you're putting in that calculator to be written down in your notes so that we can see why there is an error if you didn't come up with the $15.
So you can't have just the 15. We want to see the work that went into it. Next is your, actually I'm going to jump down and do the mode next. Okay? The mode is which number or numbers occurred the most. Sometimes there's no number that occurred the most. Sometimes there's more than one. Sometimes there's just one mode. But in this case, I have 2 13s. Oh, ignore that. And 2 16s. They both occurred the most, so in this case we have 2 modes, 13 and 16. Then the range is another easy one. It's your highest minus your lowest. So 22 minus 11 gives us a range of $11. Last one is the median. The median. So let me get rid of this a little bit. This is just kind of a way of sorting through your list. We want to know what number is in the middle for this list. Okay? For longer lists, a good way to do it is just cross one out from either end. Keep crossing them out, back and forth, until you're left with your middle number. That is your median. So in this case, my median is $14 for my cost of my books.
All right, example number 2, we've got points scored by a football team. It looks like the lowest point scored in this example was 14, followed by 20, 21, 22, 29, 31, and 31. So count up, make sure that you have 7 data points and that you've gotten all of them in the list. And grab that calculator and start inputting and adding the football scores as you go. So 14 plus 20 plus 21 plus 22 plus 29 plus 31 plus 31 is equal to 168. And you're going to write down 168 divided by the 7 data points, which gives you an average mean of 24 points per guessing game. All right, the median. Go ahead and he's going to change his color and cross off the high and the low as he goes. Again, 7 data points is going to leave 1 in the middle, so 22 is the middle value or the median in this problem. And then the mode, the one that occurs the most often in this problem, there's only 1, so the mode's going to be 31. There was 2 values that were at 31. And then the range, the high minus the low is the range, don't you know? So 31 minus 14 gives you a range of 17, meaning your data was spread out by 17 points between the lowest and the highest and the points scored.
All right, so let's do one more together, and then you guys are going to try a couple on your own. This time, notice we end up with an even number of data pieces. So that's going to factor into how do we find our median. So first thing we do, write them in order. So 20, 21, 22, 22, 24, 24, 25, and 27. And again, if it helps, just kind of cross them off as you go. But there was 8 numbers. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 numbers total in my set. So first thing, find your mean. Add them all up and then divide by the number of terms. So when we add these all up, we get, Mrs. King forgot to write it down.
Sure did, 185.
185. There are 8 pieces, so we're going to divide by 8. And that's going to give us a big, ugly decimal, 23.125, blah, 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 blah. For the mean, we're going to round it off to the 10th place. So give us 1 decimal place to our answer. So we would say it's 23.1. Next, the mode. That's an easy one because it's just looking at your data. I see 2 22s, I see 2 24s. So in this case, those are my mode because they both occurred the most. Range, high of 27, a low of 20. Well, 27 minus 20 has a range of 7. Last one is the median. And I save this one for last just because we end up crossing out some of the numbers. So sometimes it's easier to get everything else done before you start crossing them out. But we want to find what number or numbers are left in the middle. So I cross 1 out from either end. But here I'm left with 2 numbers. You have to cross 1 from either end as you go. So here we have 2 numbers in the middle. So to find the median, you have 2 choices. One, just think about what's in between those 2 numbers. What's halfway in between 22 and 24? For some of us, we can do that in our head. If not, remember from our notes, the median is the average or the mean of the 2 middle numbers. So add the 2 of them together and then divide by 2 because there was 2 terms. 22 and 24 gives us 46. Divided by 2 gives us a median, of 23. Which, if you think about it, it's right between 22 and 24.
All right, your examples are a bar graph and a table, frequency table for snowfall. You're going to find the mean, median, mode, and range of each of the examples. Make sure that you're careful when you're looking at the bar diagram and you're taking the numbers above the students' names as you're putting them in order first before you're calculating your 4 vocabulary words.
So we should see listed out all 4 terms. We should see your work if there is anything next to it, and then what your answer is for each one of them. Don't just list 4 numbers and make us guess at which one's the mean, the median, the mode, or the range.
And number 4, I mean, you're lucky. They're already in order, but we need to make sure we see the work for the mean, median, mode, and range for example 4 as well.
And then for your very last one, it's just a matching activity. See if you know your vocabulary and your definitions. So for median, mean, and mode, find your definitions over on the right, match them together. So you can either write the letters over here or just draw lines that connect the 2.
You're nicer than me. I make them write the letters. I don't want to see this crossing
Mrs. King
line.
says write the letters in there. So A, B, or C. If you don't like it, it's Mrs. King's fault.
Yep, blame it on me.
Have a good day.